Happy Tuesday, and welcome to the Ram Ashram Satsang practice session, where you'll learn a modern Satsang method for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Eddie, and I will be introducing the facilitator for today's event. But first, I'd like to give you a brief introduction to this practice session. If you'll direct your attention towards your screen, you'll see the first item is Satsang. Satsang is a scientific method whereby we may obtain peace, light, and love. It requires no physical skill, meditation experience, or spiritual accomplishment to begin this practice. Satsang consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy, and Sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Therefore, the word Satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element is meditation. Meditation is an important element of Satsang. When we meditate, we withdraw our consciousness from worldly objects and direct it inwards to focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, thereby allowing us to obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of Satsang, inner Satsang and outer Satsang. An example of outer Satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. Each time we practice outer Satsang, we have the ability to change our behavior, but it is only through the practice of inner Satsang that we can obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. The Satsang that you will learn today is an inner Satsang where we meditate in silence. Group sessions. These practice sessions are structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus is improved and our personal progress along our spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these practice sessions, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul. But only through the practice of inner Satsang can we obtain a joyous state. Each time we practice Satsang, our inner happiness gradually increases, ultimately culminating in a state of joy, which we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The agenda for today consists of 3 sessions: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a Satsang topic, the founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, instructions will be given on how to meditate, followed by a period of practice. During the interactive session, you have the opportunity to ask questions, or there'll be a panel discussion. And now, I'd like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of Satsang experience. He's the grandson of Guru Maharaj, the founder of Ram Ashram Satsang. He was born into a Satsang family where he experienced his family members obtain states of enlightenment and lead lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, facilitating Satsangs. And during that time, he witnessed the benefits that Satsang could have on mankind. And upon arriving to the United States, both he and his wife continued to facilitate Satsangs for local Satsangees. He has led teams of Satsang members in translating important Satsang literature into English and works tirelessly to facilitate Satsangs to both English and Western-speaking audiences. He currently travels throughout India and the United States facilitating Satsangs while maintaining his duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of Satsang as taught by Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanji.
Try to understand a little deeper how to achieve inner peace as prescribed by Guru Maharaj, Dr. Chaturbhuj Sahaji. So first, he himself achieved peace that was lasting and consistent through the guidance and approach provided by his guru Lalaji Maharaj. So in his conclusion, the first thing he emphasized is every human being should follow a universal religion. And that religion, or the objective of that inherent duty every human being should have, is that to achieve inner peace, an ocean of inner peace. So finding an ocean of inner peace should be the universal human religion. So that was point number one. And number two, he said that inner peace is within. So it's futile to go and do all these outward worldly things, and you can acquire as many material things as you want, but that is not going to give you inner peace. I sometimes feel that, look at Bill Gates, for example. He achieved an enormous amount of power, status, money, and whatever one want to have. But then in his retirement, he decided to pursue service of humankind. You know, if he had achieved his goals within the first phase, he wouldn't need to go and do something else. So that something else was to serve the humankind. So I think the materialistic pursuits that all of us tend to follow today are not going to provide that inner peace. So Guru Maharaj's prescription was find inner peace within, and that orientation inwards, changing the direction of this pursuit, I think is essential. And then the third thing is to find inner peace within. You got to pursue what he called inner pursuits. So as opposed to outward or outer pursuits, activities, you have to go into deep meditation, look inwards, orient yourself inwards, and pursue those activities called antarik satsang, or inner pursuits that will eventually lead you to lasting inner peace. So first, your entire focus ought to be to achieve inner peace. Find this ocean of peace and not only achieve it for yourself, but help others to achieve that as well. You will not find it outside, so look inwards. And third, after changing your direction to look inwards and orient yourself inwards, you have to then inner pursuits like satsang, where do practices of deep inner meditation that will take you there. But then he also added a fourth dimension to this, and that is that there is a very, very easy way to achieve inner peace. And that, he said, is to find someone who is at peace, and just by being with them, you would be at peace. And that is why satsang as a concept, satsang, to be with positive energy, is not only a deeper meditation practice, but it is also to be with someone who has achieved that state, can take you there, like literally as soon as you are with them. This is what he actually did himself. He found someone who was in a very consistent, deep, infectious, state of inner peace. So he found someone who was like that, and he imitated, observed, and was in presence of that inner peace, and hence achieved that. So one of his basic tenets of his philosophy was that you have to have a GPS. If you want to go to the destination, you need to have that guiding system that will take you to your destination. And that is essentially another important aspect of satsang. It is a guided meditative method to achieve inner peace. So a happy Tuesday, everyone. Glad that we are here today. So let's get into, how to meditate and practice being at peace. So while walking my dogs, I just, wanted to listen to something. So today I started listening to Oprah and Deepak Chopra on, so it's an interview, and it was interesting. So a lot of things that were discussed, very, very similar. So one thing he emphasized on was that even when you are trying to visualize something or trying to think about not thinking, so all that, still there is a thought there. So he was saying, we need to observe our thoughts rather than, cling to a thought of even thoughtlessness. And I think what we practice here, basically, there should be no other thought other than, we are with the transcendental energy, and that's an observing phenomena rather than, a visualizing. So while we're trying to manifest that in one way, but that doesn't mean that we want to really pick that. The other thing that was interesting there was he mentioned that he has been meditating for 40 years every day. And then Oprah asked Deepak that, so how long do you meditate and when do you meditate? And he said, like, every morning, 2 hours. So, and he says, so it's similar to Guru Maharaj. He said that, 15, 20 minutes, ideally either in the morning or evening or both, should suffice. But interestingly, 2 hours every day and 4 to 6. So, and for some reason, I hadn't been there forever, but for some time, I have been thinking, I've not done it. I've been thinking about 2 hours as, especially the group sessions. Very quickly, this 15, 20-minute meditation, especially in group settings, becomes a 2-hour thing because, and I can break that down, but that's not important. So I have been starting to think that, yes, we're busy, and yes, taking out 2 hours would be too much, but so individual practice could be a lot shorter, but at least once in a week, there should be a 2-hour session. That's has been a thought. The other thing that that has been also a very active thought process is, they were talking about starting a 21-day daily meditation, which was online, and they were talking about how technology can be leveraged to, connect globally and create this almost unprecedented way to, kind of get a collective energy together. And not, just with humility, I started this online process, almost 15 plus years back. And for the same reason that I feel, group sessions have a collective energy, and, I don't think in the overall scheme of things, the distances matter. It is the collective togetherness, is not, there is no time and space issue there. So morning, evening, 2-hour sessions. And they were also talking about it's 21 days they came up because that was the time in which something becomes a habit. And that was another thought that I've been thinking about, creating these events kind of creates this connotation that, it's a session to join. But I think it's more of a, how do we create a practice, an individual practice, a group practice, and how do we help each other? How do we integrate meditation into our lifestyle? So all that, I think, is more important. So that's why I'm thinking of creating a 5-week course, online course now. Actually, the work started a couple of months back, so hopefully we'll have that pretty soon. So the idea is, hopefully when people sign up and everybody here could, just, I feel they can just become a mentor to people who join in. But that would kind of create this whole ongoing process, daily meditations, weekly group sessions, daily resources that you could read and hear, and so on and so forth. So it'll be, hopefully, that 5 weeks can create this this whole process through which the transformational journey begins. But anyway, so let's practice, and then we can talk more about this. Interestingly, posture also came up, and it was same thing. It's important there are advanced ways to do things, but then the most important thing is that we have a relaxed posture, and a posture that can be that can keep us in a still position, because every time we move, the mind moves, and eyes lightly closed for the same reason. And then in terms of creating this observational state that we observe and we feel that there is this transcendental energy in form of light in front of us, and that light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we are becoming one with this light. Mind wanders away, which it will. As soon as you realize that, mind has wandered away, just bring it back to this thought and this thought alone, that we are in the presence of this transcendental energy in form of light that's entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and that we're becoming one with this light. So we'll start with music, and then music will fade. We'll go into deep silence, and then we'll transition out again with music. And then we can have some sharing of thoughts and comments and questions afterwards. So let's start now. Happy Tuesday again. Yes, I was talking about this podcast I was listening to, and it did talk about, how meditation reduces stress, and that then has other associated physical benefits. And then once you get through that first phase of benefits, the second aspect, which is more, how your behavior and your thought processes get regulated and get better. And then I think I don't know if it was in the same context or different context. There was a discussion about the book Deepak Chopra wrote about superbrain, and more of how meditation actually literally rewires your brain, and how some of the ways in which our neurons are connected get affected through this process. And then obviously the whole higher consciousness and higher awareness and all that results. So anyway, so thank you, Sarah, for sharing the video, which not everybody does, and which I'm fine. I don't know. It's I always like at least to start and end. I think if we can share the videos, it'll be good. But then I always go back to my better half who doesn't want to be on the video. So I respect totally. So how are you doing, Sarah? Anything?
Hi. Yeah, I'd be interested in a 21-day commitment.
Yeah, no, so mine would be more of like 35 days. It's like, and it's more like, see, I don't know if you have seen the pyramid. It's like I talk about the vertical progress through 5 layers or 5 realms. And so my grandfather, when he created, this is like almost like an urban retreat. So in every big city, every year in northern India, there is a 5-session, so 3 days, morning, evening, and morning. So 5 sessions, 3 days. And it's not like you go away somewhere. It's in a city somewhere, people get together, and there are thousands of people in some of these events, which at least once a year I try to go back to, which is a phenomenal experience in itself. So the idea was that, think of each session progressing through one of the realms. So 5 realms, you go all the way to the top of the pyramid where there's total peace. And what I do find is when you, because of, it's not a retreat, but for 3 days, if you're doing morning, evening group sessions, which go up to, 1.5 to 2 hours each, and then you're interacting with like-minded people and this collective energy and all that, you completely disconnect with whatever is going on outside. And in that process, you elevate yourself. So, it's amazing experience. So I was kind of taking that and just like every week you take that as one realm. So 5 weeks. So 5 times 7 is like, and these sessions, like the Tuesday, Saturday sessions, become part of it. Every day there will be a video, a daily meditation. Apart from that, and so literally, like every day there is a video that talks about some core concept, because interestingly, while I was listening to this podcast, what I realized is that my grandfather, I think he was very open and flexible, and took things from any religion, any ideology, any he said, like, okay, my goal is here to find the most efficient and effective way to get to a land of peace, and anything that helps works, right? But then I was talking to my brother, and he was saying that yes, there are so many similarities, but then not everything goes. So we need to figure out all those pieces, and we talk about in these sessions, but I think I want to collate all this because if nothing else, it will probably enlighten me, quote unquote, with all the pun intended there. It's because this one chapter in this book, that he wrote about all his, experiences through his journey, one chapter on peace, or the mysteries of peace, he called it. And then, 6-7 techniques and tips from various, again, multiple sources. And then I'm like, okay, so I used to think about like, okay, so how would I explain that worry and anxiety is addressed by meditation? And that was, okay, how would you explain that? And then one of the things in that chapter is like, the thought process takes you in the past, thought process takes you in the future. And if that is the case, if somehow you learn not to have a thought, then you can't go in the past or the future. And hence you cannot have worry at all. So it's like, I must have read that chapter so many times, but when I was trying to see how I can explain to others, and I was like, wow, that just was a light bulb going on there. So yeah. So what else?
I've been watching videos of rescue dogs that are in really bad shape, and that learn to trust human beings again. And some of them take longer, but some of them, it's remarkable how quickly they just dive into this love and joy, and they're licking people and wagging their tails. So I've had a lot of kind of negative emotions the last couple of days, and resentment and anger and things. And when I sat down, I was feeling lower vibration. I wasn't really connecting to the energy. And I thought of the dogs, and I was like, oh yeah, I can just choose joy. I can choose, I can actually make that choice. It's not like I have to, I'm not tied to processing these things in a certain way. I mean, they'll process as they process, but so that was nice. That was my meditation today. I was concerned that I might be sending that into the collective field though, because I was feeling, but then I started to feel more joyful, and I thought, well, I turned it around. So there's that.
Yeah, I actually, I think I have said this multiple times, but what I recall now is, almost 2002-ish, I was in New Jersey, and I started this monthly in-person session there. And there were times when I would feel just exactly what you described. And I'm like, why should I go down and pollute that environment where people are coming for positive energy? And
very strong thought there. And I would like, now it's, you know, the word is out and people are, you know, coming. So you just go there. And I do recall at least twice, and there must be more times, where the going in position was just what I described and what you described, and going out, like after the session, like both times I could not even recall what was the problem. Like literally, I couldn't figure out why I was, you know, what was going on, and it was like history. So that just taught me that, you know, meditation kind of works in strange ways. So again, I mean, I have repeated this again and again, and kind of feels like, you know, I'm just pushing for, you know, the group sessions. But personally, what I found was that individually, if I sat in that state of mind after my individual session, if I had come out of that setting, would be harder. But in the group, I think it's much more, the probability of coming out of that is higher. So I think meditation helps, even if we're doing individually, it definitely helps. And once it gets stronger and deeper, obviously, we would expect that result. But even if it is lighter, I think the group energy works wonders. And you are like, another thing I like about it, and everybody is different, is like you become a captive audience for that time. And that works, because then you're sitting there, you're trying to do it. And, you know, I was reading a book on 8-minute meditation, and it said clearly, like, even if you could not meditate for 7 minutes and you're clearly knowing that, even then try. Maybe that 30 seconds, the last 30 seconds could make the difference. And I think I believe that too. It's like, even individually, if you try and you get like 30 seconds of good meditation, you will feel so good after that. So anyway. So what else? So Jackie, Jeff, Karen, Lynn, good to see you again. And so is there someone who's new to the session today?
My first time online.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I was at the Vienna on the last Saturday, and
Yeah.
this is my first time online.
Yeah, I recognized. So thank you for joining. Yeah, it was good to have you there. Yeah, next one in person in Vienna, Virginia would be I think the 27th of May. Yeah.
Hi, I have a quick question.
Sure.
You speak of finding someone who has the inner peace,
Yeah.
and being around them.
Mm-hmm.
I've given that a lot of thought for the last few days. I know of no one. Where did your grandfather go to meet someone like that?
No, I know. It's see I think in one of the sessions we talked about like when, I think I was in Bangalore last month, and somebody looked at the flyer and came over and said like same question. It's like uh, you know I'm searching, and so sometimes I feel that I don't know, maybe I was just born into this family, and and you know and then even there, like there was no forcing me to do this and this. It was just I evolved into realizing the strength of the process, and then observe that some of these formulas, like I don't know if you heard, I do remember I was in college in the 80s, and one of my grandfather's followers, 45 minutes from Taj in Agra in India, and so I was at the semester, like few months, and I was struggling with some questions and some things that were just bothering me, and I thought like, okay, this time I go, I'll ask this and this. And I went there, and he was as usual, like I still recall, it's like he used to sit in a room and people would come and go, and very quiet, very peaceful. And I went, so I got down from the train and I went there and I sat down. And this time I said, like, I have to ask all these questions. And believe me, I struggled for some time to figure out what my questions were once I got there. It was like, poof, they were all gone. I was like, so I still kept like, okay, it will come back to me. And none of those questions showed up. So I was quite amazed. And then I read about some of this. So Karen, the thing is that my grandfather's own journey, if I look at, so he was in the northern part of India, the Ganges River. It's like there are multiple, cities where a lot of these sages and sadhus and all these people who were in yogic practices and other things. So he learned a lot of things, and but he never, quote unquote, met someone who he could call a guru, or someone who could actually, the state that he describes in his book, that, somebody who's beyond, who has transcended the world. So never found that. And then he found a service organization, and then he said, like, for years and years he did serve, and he even got like higher up in that, and then he said, like, later on he found it became very political, and he dropped out of there. And then the plague happened, and he was a trained homeopathic doctor who would do homeopathy and medicine. And so he was treating his eventual guru's wife, And then plague happened, and the families were sent inwards to the villages, and he and his guru kind of moved to a big palace where a lot of people had gathered and were living, and they started interacting, and you know, and a little fast forward, and he never, he felt he was a good person, never talked about anything spiritual, never talked about anything religious, never talked about, and so one fine day he was singing or humming something, and he said, like, wow, you seem to have a very good grip on, if you had tried, you could have become a good musician and or singer. And he said, no, I found something better. And that was like, oh, his with his background, he was like, now I think so then he started poking him a little about, like, what about this, what about that, and he evaded, he continued to evade that. But then eventually one day they were walking by the river, and by a hut, he said, like, okay, sit down and let me tell you how to meditate. And the first day itself, the same thing that we do, basically, he saw, like, his body was getting lighter, the light was coming from him, and so on and so on. And so of the 5 realms, he said, like, I've started you at the 4th realm at the top. And then he said, like, I showed you this, but now you have to come to that level yourself, which he said, like, he failed. Then more and more. And so the I think the thing is, he himself writes that, when you actually want to get to a higher state, you vertically start progressing. The universe, the energies of the universe will come together for you to help you to get help, and including somebody who can help.
Okay, thanks.
So it's a journey. My father used to say that, you should travel, and it is like, I think Mark Twain or somebody has said that just traveling, takes you out of your narrow-mindedness, of prejudice, and so on and so forth. And I think spiritual journey is like travels. A lot of, you find a lot of things happen that are hard to predict, very, things happen, and you have to figure out how to deal with it. So spiritual journey and travels, I think, are very similar in some ways. But yeah, I think once the question comes that I would like to, get to the higher ground, I think, personally, I think, you're here. It's a unique method. It works. I've seen it's very effective. And as you grow, other things will happen too. So that's what I would say. Eddie, what would be your take on that?
On which specific thing?
So how do we find someone in today's world and culture, somebody who, I think Maharishi Patanjali talks about Vitrag Visham Vachittam. It's basically somebody who has gone beyond the ups and downs and has the sensory effects on their subconscious mind is no longer there.
Yeah, I was sort of thinking about this the other day, and it's my understanding of this is that as we evolve in our consciousness, those beings that are responsible for being teachers, if you will, of mankind, also evolve their methods of teaching. So when we look at this satsang and how it's online, and us being in the presence of Guru Maharaj and being a part of that energy, that is finding someone who has that state. And now what we're seeing is that maybe before, where we used to actually physically sit in front of a guru, now things have changed so that you still receive, the equivalent benefit being online, because now this is a new channel to receive those energies. And so certainly, if you look at the people that have, since you started, the people that have been participating in this satsang have even confirmed this and saying that, I feel more peaceful now, and giving other positive accounts of their experience, that they're, engaging with people better, and that they don't react to folks who agitate them as much. And so we're seeing those same positive benefits that you would get if you actually sat in front of a guru. And certainly over a period of time, you'll find that, 8 years, 10 years, whatever. And when you look back, you'll know without a doubt that this forum, this particular format does work. So I think, this is a new system, if you will, of spiritual evolution. And you have found, if you're looking for the person, who is so-called, evolved and at a higher level of consciousness, you found it. This is it. This is Satsang. And so all you have to do now is really practice it.
Yeah, it's sometimes in a way, I think we have a natural, so being peaceful is a natural state for us. So if you figure out a process, so yeah, it's, I think as Eddie is saying, I think earlier it was, I think it still is that if you find a person who is at that state, that will take you there. But collectively, and I see this personally when I go to India and thousands of people are collectively meditating in silence, thousands of people. So unlike the collective energy where, even like few people are there's so much noise that you cannot hear anybody. And it's complete opposite, where this, silence, which is so potent, affects you positively. And so, yeah, I mean, I think the way Guru Maharaj packaged it was like what worked for him. He pulled all that together and just, So yeah, I think that should have the same effect. All right. So yeah. So Eddie, I think you can. What else? How do you wrap up for today then?
A lot of good information presented today, so I'll just give a bit of advice, to the practitioner. So when we meditate, we first sit down to meditate. A lot of people mention that a lot of thoughts run through our minds and we're unable to concentrate. Yes, that's understandable. But as you do calm down and the thoughts start to secede, start to cease, that you may receive certain thoughts and that cause you to get emotional or something like this. And so at that time, you become receptive. So what I would suggest is that go ahead and receive those thoughts, put them in the back of your mind, because for this 15 minutes, we want to focus on meditating, in this satsang and so forth. So take those thoughts, put them on the back burner. You don't have to forget about them. And then after satsang is done, after you're done with your meditation, then you can go back to them and address them, because there may be some important information in there for you. But the thing is to, for that 15 minutes, be there with Guru Maharaj, focus on the light entering your heart. But I have no doubt that you will receive these thoughts throughout the meditation and before you really get into the deep meditation aspect of it, because you are in a receptive state at that point. So you're going to receive these things. But the key is to stay focused on the meditation and the visualization. Deal with that afterwards, and you'll have a better experience during your meditation, and it'll be more effective as well. So just a little hint.
Awesome. So thanks, Eddie, and thanks everyone for being here. Have a great week ahead, and we'll see you very soon. I was thinking my brothers are coming, and they're, I think on the third week they will be in Bay Area. So I don't know, maybe there will be a session we can plan there. But I had been thinking of doing a session in the Bay Area myself quite some time. We'll see sometime later this year, maybe. But next session in Virginia would be on May 27th, and then a couple of them in June, July, and August. So hopefully, so Jackie, I think, we'll see you there soon. And I think more in-person activity probably should kick in as we move along. So I sometimes I feel like when the discussions actually come to a point where you're feeling so calm, quiet, and peaceful, it's hard to say goodbye, but let's keep our individual practices, and then let's meet for the group practice Saturday or next Tuesday. So see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sanjeev. I won't say